I get up, that's because I got to get my puppies to come back in.
We're here.
Live. Hi.
Are we live?
Yes. It says
Let
live.
me see. I'm not live on my end. Here we go. Always delayed here in Merritt Island for some reason. It's got probably something to do with Elon Musk. Who the hell knows? Hey, how you guys doing? We got a packed show for you today. We're going to start with the quantum financial system. I think it's a very, very exciting video that we're going to show here with none other than Charlie Ward, which I got to meet down at the Doral not too long ago. Elisa was there. We had a great time. I'm about to fly into Las Vegas to see Mike Barra. We're going to be going to the after party, the pre-party, the late party, the party where you have to ring the doorbell and they have to sort of look behind to make sure that you are the guy who you say you are so that they can let you in. One of those. But we have a great show lined up for you. And listen, there are signs that the quantum financial system might be closer. I try to sound a little bit on the pessimistic side simply because I've been here for 9 years. And you can't tell me it's going to happen tomorrow, because I listen to that jargon and I'm a realist. I like to think with my feet firmly on the ground. And I like to look at things logically and as pragmatically as I possibly can. So that
it's going to happen tomorrow, Mel. So get ready.
I knew you were going to say
I heard. I literally. That's what people are. That's what my people are telling me.
Yeah, I knew you were going to say that.
Bonds are all ready to go. The different tiers are already done. So it's just.
Yes, I've heard that story a million times.
We all have, yes. Right?
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, there's a lot of stuff happening that gives me a reason to think it's possible because I do know people that have been paid out of the system. I know people that are getting paid out of the system.
I don't know if I buy that. I got to be honest with you. I don't know if I've
seen some bank accounts. I've seen some screenshots of bank accounts.
Unless they're taking me out for a lobster dinner and we leave the phones in the car and there's no hidden cameras and they can, show me the money. I just don't. I don't buy it, man. I'm a little skeptic. Sometimes I'm skeptical.
Well, I could do that over at Crazy
I'm from
Horse
Brooklyn
3.
And sometimes I'm from Missouri. You got to show me, right?
I could do that at Crazy Horse 3 for you.
Let's play this. This is a great clip. And it was a short clip. It's 2 minutes long. And we're going to comment after every video as we always do, guys. And hopefully you'll enjoy the show as much as I like preparing for it. So here we go. Guys, welcome from a long weekend. I hope you guys enjoyed your holiday weekend. Here's Charlie Ward.
My final story is about Trump's big new bill. It's far more than a big new bill. It doesn't just cut taxes and immigration. It's an operational key to unlock a full financial realignment. You're watching the IQD revaluation preparation. You're watching XRP liquidity pathways being finalized. You're watching VND quietly shifting positions. You're watching gold reserves being recalculated. The IRS being phased out in favor of tariff-based funding. And you're seeing the CBDCs stalled to make room for an asset-backed alternative. The bill seals the borders because sovereignty must come before value. It ends tax slavery because the system is moving to an external revenue. Trade, not labor. It restructures federal beast because you can't plug in the new rails until the old system is neutralized. No bill equals no legal trigger. No legal trigger equals no reset. So the vote is the mechanics for the RV. So there's some breaking news that is incredibly powerful right at this time. Keep your eyes open, keep your ears open. Things are happening, but you have to be spiritually awake to see it because you won't see it on the mainstream media. You'll see it on our channel. You'll see it on other truth seekers channels who are aware of what's going on. Keep your eyes open, keep your ears open. It's happening. We see you tomorrow.
Thank you, Charlie. That was great. Now, if you're paying really close attention, like we are, right, to the news, the alternative news, not the mainstream news. Obviously, you'll never see Charlie Ward on Fox News. You'll never see Mel Carmine or Elisa or Mike or Laura Eisenhower for that fact as well. But if you're paying attention to what is really going on and analyzing all of the chess moves on the board with Donald Trump and the Saudi Arabian trip and the Qatar trip and how he was received, man, you understand that this is absolutely could be highly plausible. Elisa, weigh in on that, please.
Okay, first I want to apologize because, of course, the landscapers just got here, so hopefully it doesn't get too loud.
You can't hear them.
Okay, good. So, I've had this feeling for a long time, as most of you have, that every single sign that we see, every speech, every time Donald Trump was doing a rally, all the signs were there about what was coming. Okay. And you follow the way we do, and you see these little things, and they're not so little, actually. And it kind of amazes me that it goes right over the head of a lot of people. But the worst is when you tell people and you tell them to be aware and you tell them about this, they still are naysayers. So that's just frustrating, and we're probably never going to get past that. But I feel I'm not one, like we were talking about off camera, this like tomorrow. Listen, I want to wake up tomorrow and have it be done as well. But we are seeing serious signs. We're seeing signs in everything. I don't think it's just limited to the financial aspect. We're seeing signs also just in technology, all the things that are starting to pop up, like how much faster planes and flights are getting in, how much, when we're looking at how the money, when you go to transfer money, how quickly that's happening, like record speed. So I happen to be of the belief that a lot of this stuff is in place. It's already happening, maybe not 100%, but it's happening. And, I would like to think that realistically, that within the next few months, hopefully we start to really see what we've all been waiting for. I'm not of the ilk that it's going to happen tomorrow. If it does, I'll jump for joy. But I still think there's some things that they're putting in place that need to be solidified to get rid of the old system so the new one can operate the way it's supposed to.
Absolutely. And it cannot operate until that other system is completely gone and they know that they don't need it anymore. It's finally obsolete. It's over with. But you and I recently, we just did a transaction, didn't we? We did some kind of business opportunity together, and you sent Amber some money, and you said, and you were on camera live. You said, I just sent it. And Amber replies 1.8 seconds later, goes, I just got it. Holy shit. Can anybody say quantum financial fucking system? Hello?
Yeah.
Is anybody home? So what do you think, Laura? What do you think of Charlie Ward? I don't know. I know you've been traveling a lot. You've been living in these antiquated metal tubes with wings that resemble a bird, okay? And in airports, and it's an antiquated way of travel. And don't get me started because I'll be on that subject for 20 minutes. So you probably haven't been able to pay attention, or maybe you have while you're bored at the airport. Fill us in. What did you think about what Charlie just said?
Oh, gosh. Yeah, I'm not that filled in, honestly. This is not an area of my expertise, so I learn a lot just listening to you guys. Yeah, so I know that's not very helpful, but it's encouraging what I'm hearing. It's encouraging what Elisa just said, and it's not going to happen overnight, but there's so much intent on this. There's so much, I don't know, shift happening. I mean, I know I refer to the astrology a lot. The Uranus in Taurus, which has everything to do with abundance and the financial, and even Pluto moving into Aquarius, which is the ruler of the opposite sign of Taurus. I mean, these huge changes are happening. The outer planets are all in alignment with each other. There's major, major upgrades happening that are affecting the whole of humanity that is very difficult for the deep state to stop or to infiltrate without it being really exposed and revealed for what it truly is. It's, as we notice, it's hard for any psyop to go very far anymore.
Yes.
So that's what
I agree with you. And that's why we have you here, because we want you to check the stars and Pluto and Jupiter and Mars and make sure that everything's aligned, that we're not, that we're not delusional. I know that, I know people, listen, no one man, no one woman is ever going to be an island. I've never met a man or a woman that knows everything about everything. Okay. She knows a little bit. She knows a lot. And I know very little. And I know how to make great pizza though. And and we put it all together. We sort of come up with some kind of, idea that this is going to happen. Mike, I know you're going to tell us it's going to happen tomorrow, and that's great for people who are into mental masturbation. That's awesome. But for some of us, most of us, I think we like to think with our feet on the ground. But please enlighten us.
Well, okay, so I know some people in the banking world. I know some people in Iraq. I know some people that hang on, just give me 1 second. I know some people that have deep investments in this. I know some people that have actually done bond exchanges, right? There's bonds and then there's currency, and were invited back to do their currency as well. I know one or two that are liquid. I know one that's partially liquid. I know one exactly what they got for their Vietnamese currency. So, and their Iraqi currency. So I know this is all happening in the background, and it is imminent. I mean, it feels really, really imminent. My understanding is that they would really like to get it done by the end of June. That would be by Monday, or by the end of May, the beginning of June. That would be by Monday. And the one thing I don't see is I don't see where the cover is. Like what we need, I think, is a big story in the news to cover this. The ideal thing would have been when Trump went to the Middle East would be to stop by the big Iraqi summit and have them announce things there. But I don't think we're going to hear about this on the news. They're not going to go on the news and say, oh, well, all these people that bought Iraqi dinar from 2003 forward when the United States started printing the new dinar are suddenly rich. They're not going to tell you that. They're not going to announce that on the news. There might be some casual, stories in buried in web pages somewhere saying, oh, well, all those people who bought Iraqi dinar, they did really well. Isn't that cute? Now the stock market today did this and that and the other thing. So I'm expecting to hear notifications very soon. I would be shocked if it makes it through to June 1st and this isn't done, because there's no reason to hold it up. People are suffering, and that the financial thing has to go first before all the health stuff can be released. Before, there's besides the med beds that we talk about, there's cures for cancer, there's cures for diabetes, there's all kinds of things out there that have been suppressed, and they need excuses to get that out there. There's space technology that's been invented that needs to be put out there. SpaceX is supposed to be launching today sometime soon. I don't know if it's I don't know if it's right now or what, but in order for everything in the world to move forward into the positive, we have to have this financial backing to start with. I know all the gold that's known of in the world has been brought on Ledger, as much of it as they can. I know it's all ready to go. I know stuff's been moved. I'm waiting for, there's about 15 different signs that if one of them happens, it'll be go time. One of them would be if Trump says, well, we're going into Fort Knox tomorrow, or we went into Fort Knox and here's what we found. I just don't know when it's going to happen, but Mel, I think it actually could be any time now.
I said, I always say, I see these prices floating out there that by the end of June or July, XRP is going to be $27. I say, you know what? It's at $2.36, whatever it is right now. I don't even know. I could check the price real quick for you guys.
I think it was 230 this morning, Mel.
234.11. That's the next numbers after the 234. Okay. Barely 234. It's probably closer to 233
right
than it is to 235. So now, yes. Is it possible that it could get to $27? Yes. But you know what I'm hoping on? Doubling that $2.34 and going to $4.68. I'd be tickled pink if we could do that by, say, June, July, instead of the $27. Would I take 27? Obviously, I would take 27 over, right, to 260 or 468, right? But the reality is, if you set yourself up high for real, and then you're crashing back down to earth is not fun. I've done that.
No, I hear you. It's like being on coke. It's like doing blow. You're way up here and you're so happy, and then bam! Oh, if you can't handle that crash, you got to get back up high again. Right?
Exactly.
Notice Laura's smiling.
So where the story gets hokey pokey.
Laura knows what I'm talking about.
Where the story gets hokey pokey for me is, you have to go through door number 1, and you got the guy from Alpha Centauri. Door number 2, you got somebody from the Pleiadians. Door number 3, somebody's got to squeeze your testicles. Door number 4, someone's going to read your heart.
Oh, yeah.
That's a bullshit story on steroids. Anybody who believes that story, I got a good psychiatrist.
Mel, look, I was
my show.
Right. I was just fooling around on Twitter this morning, and I saw a mainstream story talking about how there's every reason to think that XRP can make it to $8 by the end of the year, and even that's
Right.
significant,
And
right?
the other part of the story I have a problem with. This is me, Mel Carmine, talking, and I don't believe I'm brain damaged.
Yeah.
All right. The part that you have to sign a non-disclosure for 90 days, otherwise someone's got access to your money. Wait a minute. Is it my money or is it your money? If it's my money, I got to have full control. If I want to immediately go out and be stupid and buy a Lamborghini, which that would be stupid, okay, I could do that because it's my money. If I want,
you're right. I have to buy the $6 million mansion first with the security before I buy the Lamborghini.
Right, exactly.
Right.
But you know what I'm saying? If I want to buy a mansion, if I want to buy a yacht, a helicopter, a jet, I can do it. It's my money. If somebody says to you, you have to sign a non-disclosure and you can't talk about it for 90 days, and if you do, I'm going to take your money away, then it's not my money, it's your money.
Okay, the thing is though, Mel, is that this is a sequence of events, and moving to a gold-backed currency may be a month or so down the road, because what you do is the sequence of events is probably let's say the dinar revalues, and then Vietnam responds and revalues, and then these other countries start revaluing, and then the only way for the U.S. to defend the dollar is to go to a gold-backed system, right? And then issue gold-backed money. That's all going to take a series of weeks, and it has to be a series of revelations in the news media to get the normies to accept this as reality, right? Now, I remember when my mom turned in her silver certificate, $5 bills, the Kennedy red ones for the green crap money that we have now. But you got to bring people along slowly. So I could see where you would be under an NDA where you cannot talk about what exchange rate you got until we went to the complete gold-backed system. And if we're going to be on gold in 6 weeks and 3 days, you have to keep quiet about that for 6 weeks and 3 days. I could see that happening. I really could.
I don't know that we're getting accurate information. Is it going to revalue? Yes. Are you going to get a better revaluation point on your money because you have a humanitarian projects? We don't know. We don't even know if the humanitarian, maybe somebody even created the humanitarian story. It turns out to be a bullshit story. I'm not saying it is.
Yeah,
I'm saying it could. There's gonna be a lot of people when the dust settles that their 29 minutes of fame has come to a fucking complete halt. Yeah. And I can mention a few of those, but I don't want to give them any notoriety. Some of them are named after the animals in the jungles of Africa. Okay, you know what I'm talking about. All right. So you feeling me?
I am.
Right.
And the thing is, the only thing I want to say is that look, I'm ready to be done with this part of this. I'm an alien guy. I want to get back to talking about aliens. So I'm ready to just finish this and move on. Right? Move away from this crazy shit and move into some serious stuff like aliens. I'm ready to go.
Let me help you out with that, because I got some stuff that I'm moving right towards the end of the show, especially on that with our friend there, Jess, the guy in the garage in South Dakota, which we love so much. But let me share my screen again, and let's see which one we're going after this time. Are we going after this one? I can't see that one. That one? No. That one? That one might be it. I'm not sure. I think that's the one. Let me check here. The double cross reference. No, that's not the one. It's got to be another one. Yeah, I think this is the one. Let me share. Can you guys see that?
Yes.
Can? All right, let me blow it up. Let me cue it up. The volume is up all the way. Yes, yes, and yes.
Sending money to people across country lines is surprisingly, crazily difficult. It just seems like this thing is so broken. Like someone needs to build a stable coin, and the thing that needs to exist is basically it needs to have a certain amount of scale in order to become a stable.
By 2030, it's expected to reach 300 trillion.
We feel like XRP is the only digital asset really poised to solve a problem at scale, a global payments problem.
Improve it with more scalable blockchain technologies like Brad's company provides.
Is basically it needs to have a certain amount of scale in order to become a stable.
The world's got trillions and trillions of dollars tied up in liquidity just to get around how clunky the movement of value is around the world.
We feel like XRP is the only digital asset really poised to solve a problem at scale.
when you see pieces like this, you get encouraged. I don't care who you are. If you're in the market and you're paying attention and you're properly positioned, it's going to get your blood pressure up a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay. So you might want to invest in a blood pressure machine, but it's happening. Look, to sit here and deny that this is all, we're being ridiculed by a lot of normies because they don't see it. They don't have the brain capacity. The elevator does not get to the top floor, if you know what I mean. Okay. So the only way that they can justify the stupidity is by making fun of us. That's where the conspiracy theory comes in. We're not conspiracy theorists. We're freaking the smartest guys in the room. And when I come in the room, I usually suck all the oxygen out of the room.
No, not you.
I do.
Not
I
you.
do.
Too bad Don King isn't still with us. You and Don King in the same room, we'd have like, a stadium full, arena full of dead people with no oxygen.
Right.
Yeah. Well, again, the signs are all there. Everything is being set up. It's just, would somebody just please pull the trigger so we can move forward?
Yeah. There's a lot of people in anticipation for this.
Yeah.
Now, how do I get rid of this? Do I hit the stop screen and then that little screen there, the bottom is going to go away? There you go. There you go. I'm learning how to use StreamYard.
StreamYard. Yep.
Slowly but surely. Always better late than never. Let's get to the next step. You guys have any comments, Elisa, on that last video with yours truly? What's the name?
Well, maybe we can talk about what scalability means in this context.
Yeah.
I just, okay. So, a lot of times when I see these videos, like I have to just listen to the words, because when I look at the faces, it throws me, like some of these people that we're not sure if they're with us or if they're controlled, to just be messengers because the normies still believe them. So I have a hard time sometimes. I have to shut my eyes, because if then I get involved in my whole thing, like, are they here? What's this about? Is it a psyop? But I think that the message, they're putting it out. I mean, people don't notice it or they don't see it, but they're little breadcrumbs, like they've always been, that for us become big messages.
Totally. Now, does Laura have any comments on that last video?
It's very technical.
You're muted.
Yes, I'm muted. Yes. Not so much. I don't know how much value I'm going to add to a comment at this point. I'm just kind of listening, and I think I'll have something's kind of coming through, but it's not ready to come out of the oven.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, guys, I got to make an announcement. The documentary is coming along just fine. We just got our first cut today. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of tweaks. I'm a tweaker. I'm a carburetor adjuster. Okay. But it's going right exactly where I want it to go. I watched maybe a third of it or so, maybe 25% of it. And I already told our editing staff where some of the carburetor adjustments I need. But it's gonna be badass. There's no question. And I'm gonna be promoting it also on the street, dressed up like the Joker while I'm promoting my healing center, Staying Alive in Cape Canaveral. I'm also gonna be promoting our documentary on the street where there's like 8 million cars an hour going by. It's gonna be crazy. I'm telling you, it's gonna go viral. Let's check this one out. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Let me blow it up. Volume is all the way up. Bingo. Let's hit the play.
What's up, America? Donald Trump, the Supreme Court, and the Federal Reserve. So Donald Trump has been making very big economic moves, but the Federal Reserve keeps getting in the way. So no matter what Donald Trump does, the Federal Reserve Chairman, Jerome Powell, refuses to lower interest rates, even though it's more than necessary. In my opinion, Jerome Powell, the head of the Federal Reserve, is nothing but a Democrat shill. So the Supreme Court is finally taking up the question, can the president fire the chairman of the Federal Reserve? Now, I don't even know why this is a question. I would say, of course he can. But the argument is that the Federal Reserve is a private bank and a private entity. And so even though they basically control every single function of our government and monetary system, somehow they're outside of that purview.
Now, if you really want to get down to brass tacks on who is controlling the wealth transfer, I give you the Federal Reserve. These are the scumbags right there. And I point to them because I'm fearless. I listen, I've always run on no fear. I'm not about to, become fearful now in my 60s. This guy here is a piece of shit. And Donald Trump is the only guy who's going to get rid of all of them, because the United States government, first of all, we don't have to chop down trees and print money out of paper. Those days are long gone since like the early, mid 80s and 90s, etc. The money's been digital for a very, very long time. Okay. We don't need them. We can have our own money. It's digital. We can print it on demand. There's going to be a certain supply. It's got to be backed up by real things with real value, like gold, silver, diamonds, real estate, etc. Okay, that's going to happen. But we're going to tell these guys to fuck off. Now, when that reality becomes a reality, you can expect the flourishment of the wealth transfer, not just here in the United States, but worldwide. I thought that was a very good video. What do you guys think what they just said?
Well, I don't know. Okay, so this is like me being me, but I don't know if it's real. Like, in other words, is it a show? Is it, once again, we're in a show, we're in a movie where, according to what we had heard a few years ago, the Federal Reserve was already taken in under the Treasury Department, and it was all done with Trump and Mnuchin and under the CARES Act and everything. So, is this being put out for again, because they have to show it in a movie style that shows who the bad guy is or who the guy is, forget about bad or good, and let people see what the order of these events happen, so it makes sense. There's a lot of people, they're paying their taxes. They believe that the Fed controls, this and the interest rates and all this stuff, right? This whole big picture that's going on. And to just turn around and say, Fed's gone, the IRS is gone. It's a lot to handle, like Mike always says. Are people going to just say, well, screw it, I'm not doing anything? I'm not sure I believe the truth. I believe like the what the eventual narrative is supposed to be and where we're going, but I just don't know if I personally believe that what we see and hear come out of Jerome Powell or anybody else associated with the IRS or the Federal Reserve is not just part of the movie.
Sure.
Right.
And we're going to switch it out today. What we're going to do is we're going to read some of the comments from the guests and maybe.
I'd like to hear Laura. You were about to hit.
Oh yeah, I was just going to say, it's sort of like reading the label on the back of a thing that you're going to buy at the store, back of a product. The bank that you choose to bank at,
Well put.
You have to just really know who you're talking to and what they're aligned with. Because I've talked to lawyers that just will move mountains for you, that know how to work the system in your favor, that are the bridges to like the new system, to the new currency as well. That will give really, really strong advice. And then others that will be the gatekeepers that won't at all and will keep you believing that nothing's going to change and this is what you have to comply to and answer to. So I always say, if it's not in resonance, hang up, go to a different institution, a different bank teller, a different bank, a different customer service person, even until you find that that connection, that portal to the next.
Well, I will tell you this. I have a friend who went to a bank in the Midwest. He heard a story about a bank. He went to the bank, and I tried to follow up here in Vegas, but it didn't have quite the same thing. But he went to this bank, and it's a new Chase Bank branch, and there were no teller windows. There's just cubicles, and it says Chase Bank and blah 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 wealth manager, whatever their wealth management is. And in these cubicles, there are 5 or 6 of them, and they all had foreign currency counting machines. They all had De La Rue machines, basically, which do nothing but count foreign currency. Now, those cost anywhere from $1,000 to $20,000, depending on their expense, and they are specifically for not counting, Canadian dollars or anything like that. It's for exotic currencies like the Iraqi dinar and the Vietnamese dong and the Venezuelan bolivar and the Indonesian rupiah. And there is, at any given moment, usually in a city like, let's say, the size of Las Vegas, there's probably one of those machines at one Chase Bank somewhere in Vegas. What are there, 20 branches maybe? One of them's going to have one of those machines. And when they get some of that money in, they're going to send it out to that bank. They're going to count it, run it through the machine and say, okay, this is how much this is worth. Put it in the guy's account. This is a single branch in Michigan with 5 of them. In other words, every office that was doing banking in that new branch had one of these machines. That means they are expecting hundreds, if not thousands, of customers shortly to be coming into those banks. So you hear these kinds of stories, you see this kind of stuff, and I think to myself, all of this stuff with Trump and Powell is just gamesmanship. Like you said, Elisa, it's just part of the movie to get us to the point where there's some sort of crisis. I feel the same way about the judges and all this stuff. It's like, Trump, why doesn't Trump just say, I'm ignoring all these people? They have no authority over this, that, or the other department, and keep
they're still there, Mike, if they're even still there and it's not a part of the show. It's so hard to tell, but there's so many signs that show us that a lot of this stuff has been done. You know, you don't know for sure. We don't have a crystal ball. There's a lot of information, but if you even go by your instincts and your gut, you know, viscerally, it just feels right. You know, what we're saying.
And that's the most important thing. Tuning into that.
Yeah.
We get so yanked out of ourselves that we mistake it for intuition. We get so convinced of something that it overrides our better judgment, and then we can't really navigate very well.
Yeah. Hey, Patrick from Alaska is here. Patrick had a problem with his prostate, and I won't mention your last name or where you live or what color your house is. But anyway, he came in and he slept in the system for 2 weeks, and he's like 3 days in. He goes, "Hey, I'm starting to pee normal. Something's going on here." So he was at Staying Alive, and we're missing this time. He's going to go to California to use a system there, not nearly as priced as the one we have. Obviously, we have incredible prices, but he's going to be hanging out with his brother, which is cool. But you know, look, I want to do maybe some towards the end of the show. And Lisa, Mike, you could read some of the, comments and questions, and maybe comment, and some of these people, do some audience interaction. I think that would be good. But let me go to the next screen, because I think this one is mind blowing.
I can't highlight the questions. I wish I could highlight.
Now, Instagram doesn't have the button where I can blow up the screen, so I'll apologize in advance. Either that or Mel Carmine doesn't know where the fucking button is. One of those two. One of those is real. So here we go. Can you guys see my screen? Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, let me go ahead and reload.
This question: why are all these foreign military officials saluting Donald Trump and he's saluting them back? He's showing you he's commander in chief of the world, king. Keep watching. Look at all the different ones. It's right in your face. Different uniform.
All kinds of different countries there. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
every
branches
country in the world is there.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Look at this. One at a time. From Italy, from Jordan, from Iran, from everywhere. Everybody's bowing down to kiss the ring.
Ask yourself this question: why are
that's done? So let's exit that thing, and let's. Okay, that was pretty cool. I mean, look, the respect has been captured on audio, video. Every news outlet in the world is reporting on this. Okay, this is what it is. I mean, look, as far as I'm concerned, he is the king of the world, but I don't worship him in the sense that he cannot do no wrong. He is a man with obviously big, you know what, okay? And he puts his pants on the same way I do, the same way Mike does in the morning. And I'm sure Elisa and Laura must own a couple of pairs of jeans, okay? And I could tell you that if he makes a mistake or if he makes something that could have been done better, you better believe that Mel Carmine and the people in our group here, our co-hosts, will absolutely call him out on
it. This one is interesting because I was under the distinct impression that Vladimir Putin is the head of the military worldwide and not Donald Trump, that he was the economic king. But it sure is. It sure looks like they're saying we're with you. It was like his first inauguration in 2017 when all the military came up behind him. I think we talked about that last show. it was a sign of fealty. It was like basically a commitment of fealty to Trump as almost the king. And I don't know what that means. I mean, Laura, you're going to have to do a little analysis on that. What do you think the symbolism of that is, of that particular? It was like paying your respects at a wedding or something. It was bizarre.
Absolutely.
Oh,
well, it just became the 5th cast, the 5 cast, not the 4 cast. So, hey, welcome to our show, Mrs. Maureen Carroll.
Hi, Maureen.
Carol Maureen.
Yeah, I had to restart my computer and update and all sorts of shit.
And there's so much I can answer on that, Mike. I'll probably save it for the next show because we don't have much time and she just arrived. So,
okay.
But yeah, no, I've got some thoughts.
Very cool. Let's
Hey
go
there.
to the next video. And I think you guys are going to love this one. This is going to blow your mind. And this is the word, I'm going to use the word allegedly. Hey, YouTube, can you hear me? I said the word allegedly, right? This is what this is. It's allegedly. We're not saying it's actually fact. Okay. Because when you use the word allegedly, they can't shut you down. Did you guys know that?
Mm-hmm.
Now you do.
And unalived.
Or in my opinion.
Yeah, allegedly. It's my opinion, not fact. Okay, here we go. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
This is going to blow your mind. 1 minute and 12 seconds.
So the state of Oregon sent 60 fire trucks to assist with the LA wildfires. However, those fire trucks never arrived in LA. And the reason that they never arrived is fucking insane. All 60 of those trucks did not have California smog certification. So they stopped all 60 trucks in Sacramento so they could conduct emissions tests on them. I fucking wish I was making this up, but this actually fucking happened and is currently happening. Oregon sent 60 trucks, 60 fucking fire trucks ready to go. And just because they didn't have their California smog certification, they stopped them in Sacramento and still haven't released them because the government moves at the speed of the government. And they haven't even started the emissions testing on these 60 fire trucks. Entire cities are burning to the ground. And California wants to stop 60 trucks for an emissions test. I'm sorry, California, but you fucking get what you voted for.
Allegedly. Now, am I allowed to believe it? Yes. Do I believe it that these trucks got stopped? Yes. There are people, I'm allowed to believe it, even though it's allegedly, and you're allowed to believe it, even though it's allegedly. But if I had to bet, I'd bet quite a lot on this. Okay. That there are people allowed to burn in their freaking homes alive, some of them. And this is the kind of red tape that we're dealing with. You tell me if this is true. And again, this is my opinion, allegedly. Okay. If this is true, are we dealing with criminals here of the highest order? And let the law decide what the just punishment is. Not Mel Carmine, not Elisa, not Mike. Definitely not Carol Maureen.
The problem is, Mel, is the law doesn't do anything about it. We just had fucking Dan Bongino and Kash Patel look right into the camera and try to tell us that Epstein killed himself. I mean, the law doesn't do anything. They cover for him. Now, I don't know if he's in witness protection or what's going on, but they're transparently lying, and they're supposed to be on our side. This is a crime. This is murder. And Gavin Newsom is guilty of manslaughter, at least, if not murder too, for not bypassing all those requirements and getting those fire trucks down there immediately back when we had the fires. When is somebody going to do something about it?
Well, Mike, I think they were really, with their body language, they were very uncomfortable with what they were saying. And I mean, you could read right through that. And here, timing's everything. We really don't understand what's going on. So I think they are true to their word, and it will come out when it should come out. And I think Trump's in charge of all of that. He has to be.
Well, he definitely needs our help to call these things out. And I mean, I remember when Gavin Newsom was laughing
Yeah.
After one of the fires, he was just standing on the barren land, just giggling. Look at the effects of climate change. And he was like humoring himself. It's unbelievable.
Well, here again, that isn't even common sense. And Trump keeps saying we have to have common sense. I mean, if the house is burning, you're not going to turn down a hose. So
then you got what's coming from underground. You got the smart meters. You have all these different mechanisms set up to create these anomalies that the geoengineering, everything. It's just, I mean, obviously the directed energy weapons, but how it's all in sync with each other. And then the scalar weaponry, the inversion, like it's all collapsing, but we have to realize that we can override this. Like we literally have to collapse it with our consciousness. And I know that sounds like idealistic, but we're the real power sources that have been harvested and siphoned that are looking outside of ourselves for solutions. And Trump definitely holds the ground for a lot of people to rise. Whereas these other systems have been about the suppression of the people and the problem reaction solution and, you know, just wait and we'll come save the day kind of stuff. And just, it's not going to work with one person or administration without all of us. And it's happening. That ripple effect has already taken place enough to turn the tides in a rapid way, I feel.
Well,
Like
I think it did trigger a lot of people, you know, Bongino and
Cash. Yeah.
Cash. Yeah. So, I mean, I think Mike can allude to this too, is, I mean, they're after the gold, right? The aliens are after the gold, or Anunnaki or whatever it is. I mean, they're after our creativity and they're after our Christ consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
And because we're all just sound and color, I mean, that's why Mal has the center there is to sit in the light and allow all those different lights and frequencies to up. It increases our vibration, but also our frequency, right? So, you know, that's sound
by a lot.
Yeah.
By a lot. You have
Well,
no idea.
It's funny because someone put out, I think it was McAfee channel was putting out about Da Vinci Code and how it's right in the Last Supper. Not that I'm into the religious side of things, but just the color of Mary Magdalene wearing blue dress and a red cloak, and then Jesus was wearing a red dress or whatever undergarment and a blue cloak. And so we're just red and blue. And when you bring red and blue together, you know, it opens up our center core, which is the gold ray of Christ consciousness, the ray of love will, and or love wisdom. And so that's why everyone's is doing blue, methylene blue and red light therapy, which would work in Mal's center also. And so when we can balance the left and right, the masculine, feminine, Ida and Pingala, the Sushumna can open up, and then it's our creativity that they're after. Mm-hmm. And we are in this to co-create a new a new earth and a new system, still bridging with gold and silver and the crypto. And yes. So it's, you know, it's a balance between all of these things. And then AI is flying at us, and people are scared to upload their stuff into the AI, but I think it's up to us, even as on the spiritual level, is to program AI to a 5D by fifth dimensional way of thinking. But if we hold back our wisdom, it won't, whatever system they're using won't get our messages. It'll only do the lower energy
and the high mind assimilation. Yeah.
Right. So
yeah, I remember my friend Darla, who is a photographer, an incredible photographer, by the way, out of California. She just had another baby, so congratulations, Darla, and her husband. Nicest people you ever meet in your life. And they came to cover the Quantum Summit Part 1. We're headed for Quantum Summit Part 3, hopefully in Vegas. But anyway, she went into the system because we gave all of the people who helped out, who volunteered as photographers, volunteers, the speakers, we give them a couple of hours free in the system, no charge. She comes downstairs bawling, crying. She's in touch with God just by being in the system. She's like, this is unbelievable. So we have something that's special. There's no question about it. But these bastards are going to try to stop all of it. And let me show you who's in charge of your food. Again, this is allegedly my opinion. I could be dead wrong. I could be lying to you inadvertently, but I don't think I am.
You're
Again,
not
that's
wrong,
my strong
buddy.
opinion.
You're not wrong, bro.
Oh, I know I'm not. You guys see my screen?
Yep.
Mhm. Yeah.
1 minute and 51 seconds of pure nuclear shit. Listen carefully.
These 7 families don't post. They don't need fame. They run the system. The Cargills. They own more of your food than any company on earth. From your cereal to global grain, this family feeds the world. The Kochs, oil, gas, paper, politics. Quiet rulers of the conservative machine. They don't run for office. They sponsor those who do. And while they push anti-regulation, they sell you napkins. Number 3, the Mellons, old steel big banks, the original quiet capital. Their name lives in universities, but their money lives in shadows. Number 4, the Tisch family. Ever heard of them? They run Lowe's Corp and helped shape UPS. Billionaires in banking, insurance, and football. Number 5, the DuPonts. Still rich, still deadly. Their chemicals built America and polluted it. Their story includes murder, madness, and monopoly. 6, the Waltons. You shop Walmart, they run the supply chain. Paid billions while workers get cents. They own the skies and the town below. Number 7, the Bloombergs, data, media, power, influence. He can swing elections and markets. Wall Street literally runs on his software. Soft power with sharp reach, quiet but everywhere. These families own more land than most countries. And what's behind the curtain? Trusts, art, history itself. Their donations don't come with receipts. Just favor. They fund the schools that educate future presidents. And yes, they fund the media that shapes your view of them. They don't trend, they don't dance, they dominate. Their ancestors ran railroads. Their kids run the internet. You'll never visit, you'll never be invited. That's the point. Most aren't. That's the power of being off the radar. Cargill, Koch, Mellon, Tisch, DuPont, Walton, Bloomberg. Comment which family shocked you most. Follow Old Money Tales, because what's hidden is usually in charge.
You don't get much more powerful than that, ladies and gentlemen. And I think, you know, my intuition, my what do you call it? Discernment tells me that this is very real indeed. I could be dead wrong. I'm saying allegedly for a reason so that we don't get kicked off of this, you know, Marxist organization. Okay, this social media. And I believe that, you know, guys like me are going to fight you until the end. You know why? Because you stop me from advertising on YouTube because we have something that obviously works. And now these are not medical devices. For example, I'm giving this as an example. So you stop me. But guess who owns the streets? Mel Carmine owns the streets. I dress up like a freaking clown to get 8 million people to look at me. And I'm pointing at the sign. And I'm in freaking... You know, because we're next to like what do you call it, Ron John, the biggest surf shop in the world. I'm getting into these like surf poses, and I'm pointing at the sign because you can't stop. There's no algorithms in the streets. I control the streets, and people are honking. People are stopping their cars, getting out of their cars, taking pictures with the Joker, and it's not a joke. This is not a joke. This is real. What do you guys think?
You know, the idea of like who runs things, I suppose there's, you know, a lot of people who aren't aware of this, or they haven't thought about it, or they haven't been exposed. But, you know, we know. I mean, go back to George Carlin, you know, one of his best routines was, you know, it's a private club and you ain't in it. So, right. You know, we kind of know that the world is being run. But to go back to the point that the ladies were talking about, if you don't mind, I just wanted to add something. Mm-hmm. When you guys were talking about this idea, you know, with Bongino or whoever brought it up, you know, could it be that that's exactly what's going on? That every time one of these ridiculous things comes out, or these angering type of things, what happens? The light workers, the people that are here to raise the vibration, get more intense about what we're supposed to do, and we're putting out more light. We're trying to get the truth out in the way that we can, whether it's through light work, whether it's through, you know, messaging like we're all doing here today. So there could be an argument made that, you know, while a lot of people aren't getting it, a certain amount of people are getting angry about it, there's another group of us that are continuing to raise the vibration so that more and more people wake up and this great awakening continues so that we cannot be controlled the way we were. So I sorry I digressed off the original question, Mel, but I wanted to just add that.
Yeah. Well, so now what we did is because you have to sort of think outside the box. I've created a very, very unique commercial because I have to earn a living. I have something that I could literally thrive, even though I'm giving it away. It's 75% cheaper than all the other centers. If I could fill up my 52 chairs, I'm making a very good living. Like, and like we're talking a couple $1 million a year conservatively, right? So now we created a commercial that talks about libido. We don't talk about the C and the R, the one that ends with an R, right? We don't talk about that anymore because I got to get you to my website. When you get to my website, you watch the testimonials. You'll see about the C and the R and the one that starts with a D, okay, ends with an S, etc. Okay, you'll see all of it. So I have to do. So I have because people. I'll tell you a funny story. We do what's called an open house. Typically every 5 weeks, 6 weeks or so, we invite people in for free for 2 hours so that they can experience it. And people want to come back, they got to bring in a couple of guests, and so you can come back multiple times free of charge. But you got to bring in a couple of guests in order to be able to attend for free. And as I'm doing, basically, it's a 3-part show. It's like a seating, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And then we break for questions. We have a PA system with a stage, very professional setup with a big screen, projector, the whole 9 yards. My friend calls me, Dallas. He says, Mel, you're not going to believe this, but my daughter, who has not been able to get pregnant for years, went to see every doctor, every clinic on God's creation. She came and slept in your system for 2 nights. 2 nights. Went home, all right, had a little bit of sex, and got pregnant. The 3rd night.
Sounds like a lot, actually, a little bit, yeah.
But anyway, who's sitting in the front seat is a guy by the name of Johnny, and Johnny's saying, Mel, I got a testimonial. He was jonesing to get on stage, so I get him on stage. So what's going on, Johnny? He goes, I'm 72 years old. He goes, nothing's been happening down there for quite some time, and things are happening down there. I'm getting one of those every now and then. And
I'll be on the next flight down, Mel, just so you know.
It's more frequent, right? So I said, ladies and gentlemen, we got people who can't get pregnant, who go see all the clinics and all the doctors, and they can't do nothing for them. They sleep in the system for 2 nights. They go home, they get pregnant on the 3rd night. We got a guy who hasn't gotten a hard-on in years, and he's over here getting hard-ons. It works. People are getting hard-ons. People are getting
you know what?
pregnant. It's real.
No, you're doing God's work because the world.
The audience was literally flabbergasted. It was
there's
so
no
funny.
way around that. That's what the world needs. Yeah.
Yes.
Well,
absolutely.
it becomes increasing the masculine energy too.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's it.
So I had to
balancing out
make a
your
commercial on
hormones.
libido. I made a commercial on libido, and I made a commercial on what? Anti-aging. You can't touch me for anti-aging or libido, right?
That's
I'm not
right.
saying I'm not saying I'm curing anything, because this is how YouTube. I mean, we were literally we bought an ad. We were paying every day for an ad, only to find out bots were coming to our website to visit our website to give us the illusion that we were being visited, so that we keep paying. And if it wasn't for a video that I came across by another holistic doctor, says, if you're spending money on YouTube advertising holistic, you got something that works, stop the insanity. Understand? So we have paying thousands of dollars with a bunch of bots, thinking one day one of these customers or one of these potential customers is going to pull the trigger. Bots don't have a wallet. They don't have any money.
Yeah.
They're bamboozling me.
So Mel, to add to that, like really, it's a beautiful service to actually mention those 2 things, because libido and anti-aging is really something that the people that are still asleep, because those are the most important things, right?
Yes.
If you're still down there in that 3D way of thinking, because the more we increase our frequencies, the younger we're getting. Everyone seems to be getting younger that is awake.
Right.
Because we're not worried about things. We see through things. And then, of course, libido. I mean, everyone wants to have more.
Right.
I mean, once you leave this planet, it's pretty cold on the other side. There's no sensuality. I like to call it sensuality, but it will wake people up. Now you bring them into the light, into color therapy, and you're increasing the sound therapy within the room. what happens then, they're getting both of those, and it will wake them up a lot faster. You're going to get to a whole different level if you think of it that way. Because
and then we have the plasma med bed. It's one person at a time. You sit between these lights that are plasma, noble gas, and scalar underneath. It's a $32,000 piece of equipment. This is not cheap stuff, right? And people are sitting in there, and literally the body are drying up the, you know what, the word that starts with a 2 with a T, ends with an S, also starts with a C, ends with an R, like that. Okay, we can't mention those words because we're on some platforms that don't allow people to know about what we have. That's why my place
I was saying Teletubby,
yeah. So, you know, again, these are not medical devices. These are devices that put out a frequency, okay, that your body understands, okay, or understands. And when you're in that frequency, your body knows exactly what to do, because God doesn't make any mistakes with intelligent design.
Well, and that's the thing, because that's the epigenetics of it all. That's how the mind speaks to the body. And when it's under a programming or some level of parasitic control, the bioweapons and parasites have an intelligence, and it keeps getting rebooted or reactivated every time there's a PSYOP or false flag or some sort of transmission through our devices or through the 5G. And if you override that, if you use what you're talking about, and the mind is able to override it, it collapses that frequency and actually de-weaponizes it.
Also, to keep it simpler too, is that parasites want to live in the dark. And the more you bring light inside your body and a lightening within yourself, awakening, the parasites aren't going to come. That's a good parasite cleanse right off the bat, because they don't live in the light. They live in the dark.
Yes.
Cockroaches. And they don't want to live in a body of light.
Like those hidden families?
Well, when you're in the system, if you're whether you're a man or a woman, it doesn't matter. When you're in the system and you're sitting inside our E system, I call it hyper light energy something. I came up with a new name for it, which fits. It's more fitting. You'll get up at least 2 or 3 times in the middle of the night to go pee. You know why? Because it's trying to push all the toxins out. That's why we recommend that you buy the $20 bag of salt that everybody else sells for $37. Okay, and buy that $20 bag of salt. Dump the whole thing in some hot water. The hotter, the better, and allow your pores to open up and allow the body to detox. The longer you could stay in there with the hot water, it's made from borax, sea salt, and baking soda, all organic. Okay, you'll feel like $1 million. I went recently for Amber's birthday. We went and hung out in the middle of the woods, and I took a shower in spring water, well water. I never thought I was so clean in my life. When the wind was blowing up against my skin, it felt different than when I'm washing with chlorinated water here at home. And your skin is the biggest organ in your body, and they're trying to kill us with every possible thing, right? And so you have to know what they're doing, how they're trying to kill us, and how we can combat it until RFK gets rid of all the chemtrails and brings the food back to the way it's supposed to be, et cetera, et cetera. So, but getting back to sharing my screen now, I'm going to go into the favorite part that Mike loves, which is the extraterrestrials. And we got our favorite guy here, Jess, the guy in the garage, as I so eloquently dubbed him. Jess is a piece of work. Truly,
I just saw him on Scott McKay. And him were on a show.
Oh, really? Recently?
Yeah, it flashed across. So,
okay, here we go.
You're gonna drink truth from a fire hose. This is that moment. Redacted just dropped an interview with Eric Hecker. He is a whistleblower who works for Raytheon, stationed in Antarctica. And everything you've ever heard about Antarctica, this dude just went all the way. He testified to Congress. He says the military-industrial complex is upset with him, has been hitting him with DEW, so he says, fuck you, I'm dropping it all. Directed energy weapons capable of earthquake induction, moving storms like North Carolina. He says directly, the 2011 earthquake in Christchurch, New Zealand was caused by them, and it can be confirmed through the leaked Hillary Clinton emails, because that body count is absurd, right? Dude, put thoughts into your head.
Allegedly.
Levels of technology that would appear to be pure magic to you. and all of us, like, you cannot grasp. You have to go listen to this. It's on YouTube, Redacted. Just search that. He just dropped it. He also on Rumble. He covers all of it and says he indicates the massive military base underneath the Denver International Airport. He covers all the bases and the things they are doing to us. However conspiracy minded you are, and however paranoid, and whatever you think the government is doing to us, there is some entity embedded within the government, and it is doing things way worse and far beyond your wildest fucking dreams of how horrible these crooked sons of bitches can be to us. Like he puts and ties together the unexplainable mass compliance during Corona is some part of this weapon. And he describes everything all about it. The infrastructure, what it looks like, how it operates. It goes full fucking Star Trek. He says this is also functioning as an interstellar traffic control system, monitoring the neutrinos released from the engines of interstellar ships. It also can positively charge these neutrinos, and that is how they are moving storms and doing all the other wild shit. Ew, people. Like, all the wildest shit you've ever heard about Antarctica, this dude just lays it out and then just gives you the details to it. Like, the Great Awakening is upon us, and it is far more than just the corruption and the money they've been hiding, but what they've been doing with our stolen money. Exploiting us, testing weapons on us. He says this is worldwide, and he even would indicate to you that he says that we are using these weapons worldwide against an adversary, indicating that it might not have even been our own government who steered that hurricane into North Carolina. Ever heard me say you're going to drink?
There you go. I mean, listen, let's talk about it. I know that you are an expert on extraterrestrials, Mike. Antarctica. Let's go there.
Well, I'm not such an expert on Antarctica. I think Laura might know more about that than me. But look, there's a reason that this place is off limits. Now, is it because there's no real Antarctica? It's an ice wall, and the Earth is flat, and the land's beyond, and all that bullshit? No. But there is a lot of secrets there. The Germans supposedly did go there. They founded New Schwabenland. They put their U-boats down into the underworld part of the Earth, apparently. There's a lot of wild stuff that happened there. Operation High Jump. It is one of those places where you're not allowed to go without permission from government. And why did John Kerry, who I believe was the Secretary of State under Obama, go to Antarctica on Election Day 2016 when Obama's chosen successor, Hillary Clinton, got curb stomped by Donald Trump? Why? What is going on? What's happening there? I don't know. I just know that there's a lot of bizarre stuff there. There's rumors of ancient technology, but it's not the kind of thing you can research. If I want to research Roswell, I can go to Roswell. I can ask questions. I can talk to people. I can go to the site. You can't do any of that in Antarctica, and there has to be a reason why. And it's not to protect the ecosystem, because it's dirt and it's snow and it's ice and it's basically dead. Other than penguins, there's nothing there. So what the heck? Why is this place off limits? That's the question we need to be asking. Why is this place off limits?
Well, another thing is, we have wars all the time, but how can they all agree on one treaty? Like, what countries all agree on one thing? But it was very fast.
Yeah.
That alone tells us there's something beyond. And well, I guess.
Well, is it possible that there are places, because when you have to deal with humans, you need a lot of R&R, rest and relaxation, and these are places where they stay far away from us, because we could be a lot of stress, right? And yes, they have the technology, they have all that, whatever. But I do believe that there are some anomalies that you can't sweep away. Admiral Byrd comes off to me as a very credible guy. Okay? You can't say this guy is a cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. He's an admiral, for crying out loud.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, he
Right?
was one of the leading military men of his time when he went there, and he came back telling a few pretty wild stories. I think some of them have been sort of exaggerated, but he had some wild stories to tell.
Well, let's leave this show with a really funny note, and then we'll take some questions you guys find interesting. So you start sifting through. I'm going to show you a very short clip of not probably our best clip because we just did it, off the cusp yesterday. And I'm going to hire a film crew to come in where there's people focused on me. There's people focused on the traffic reacting to me. But this is where you'll see me. I'm right by Ron John in Cocoa Beach. And you guys are more than welcome to come in and say hello, park the car. There's plenty of parking there where I'm at. You'll see it. And there's plenty spaces. But let me show you the screen. And it is on X, I believe. Yeah, that's the one. Can you guys see my screen?
Yep.
Okay, and we're right by Ron John, which is the biggest surf shop. I'm on the opposite corner, okay? And I got two signs that says your body can cure every disease 100%. I didn't say a machine is going to cure you. I didn't say a medicine is going to cure you. I said your body can cure you when you're in the right atmosphere, when you're right energy. But I give you a little glimpse of Mel Carmine literally going Alex Jones on YouTube. You don't control Mel Carmine in the streets. Remember that. Mel Carmine owns the streets. Always has, always will. So check this out. Ready?
Hit it.
People are honking their horns.
And you didn't get a ticket for this, Mel?
No ticket.
Oh, you look great.
I got the mask on and all. That's Mel Carmine in the street battling the New World Order.
Are we sure that's not Gene Simmons of Kiss? We're positive.
When I said I'm going to go ape shit on these guys, I meant it.
Right on. That's awesome.
And I'm going to get a really professional mask because, the mask is one of these loose masks, and I'm sort of breathing in a lot of my own air. And I'm saying, how the hell these people wear a mask? One of those tight masks, protecting themselves from the boogeyman, right?
Oh, when you're mentally ill.
Yeah, I can't. I got to, after like 20 minutes, I'm like opening up the mask to let some air in so I could breathe, right? Mind blowing. But anyway, that's what I'm doing at least 2 or 3 days a week. Whenever I have time, I'm out there 2 hours, 2.5 hours. I got plenty of cold water. My belly's nice and full. Make sure I don't get hungry. And I got I'm well, taken care of as far as, hydration. So, but anyway, let's take some questions. Elisa, do you have any? I know there's a guy in here that was listening to our story about going through door number 1, 2, and 3, and he says, "No way, no one is squeezing my nuts." So anyway, it's funny, right? Any questions that comes to mind here, guys, that you might want to tackle? Some guy here saying Mark Z saying something about $50,000 Iraqi dinar. What is that all about? That's right up your alley there, Mike.
I don't know. I saw that one. There is a rumor going around that and there's a screenshot that there's been a memo issued to the international banking that it is ready to revalue at $4.81 right now. That it's on the bank back screens and all that stuff now, and we have a number. But that's all I know. That's all I know.
Well, unless we get like a high-ranking bank official to leak that information out, maybe she doesn't want to be on camera or whatever, and we could definitely determine, yes, we are at this bank right now.
Or it comes on the Forex or something. But the Forex is going to be the last play. I think we might even be done with exchanges before it goes to the Forex.
Yeah.
So we'll wait to see on that.
Sure. And you guys could drop in wherever it is you're listening from. I know we got people from Alaska. I know we got people that tune in from New Zealand, Australia, all over Europe. So drop in wherever you're calling from. And let's see if there's any other questions in here. If not, we're going to call this a show, and we're done.
Someone's asking, is SES still relevant? I would think Secret Executive Services. Is that what the SES is?
Not sure. Tell him to make sure that that's what he's meaning, if he's still here with us, and we'll try to tackle that.
Well, Juan always says that that's the biggest problem is SES, the Secret Executive Service.
We have more than one problem, I can assure.
I know, but that's the deepest part.
Right.
One part, put it that way.
Yeah. Any questions you have there, Elisa, that you might want to tackle?
No, you guys beat me to the two that I had my eye on.
Well, any questions, just ask them now, guys, and we'll tackle them right now. Just a
Well,
little short, right to the point.
Bigly Huge is saying something about these guys look like the Apollo astronauts after they got back from the moon. I just want to comment. Look, we went to the moon. Okay, even Q told you we went to the moon. Yes, it was not faked. And everybody makes a big deal out of this press conference, like they're all body language experts now and psychologists, and they show these pictures of them staring very seriously. They don't show you the video clip from, like, I don't know, 5 minutes later when one of them makes a joke and they're all laughing and getting along and everything. It's like, stop believing in stupid conspiracy theories because it makes the rest of us look dumb. Okay? Stop pushing this stuff. The earth is not flat. We went to the moon. Stanley Kubrick did not fake the moon landings. And I'm sorry, but if you fly a 400,000-pound jetliner into a building at 450 miles an hour, it's gonna come down. Boom.
If there was a plane, Mike.
Well, let's not go there. That's very sensitive language.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. Let's use the word
yes,
allegedly.
in my opinion.
Yeah.
I'm learning from my good friend Nino Rodriguez. Hey, that's pretty good. We got 505 people listening to us live. That's good coming off of holiday weekend. We were starting to scratch 650, 670, and so on. And I think the show is going to grow because the chemistry is right. Any other questions? We got hello, family. How are you guys? Blah, blah, blah. How you doing, Mel? Eddie from Western New York. Love you, Laura. Somebody loves you out there, Laura.
We all love
you
Laura.
back.
Yeah.
Well, I love you all.
Love Laura.
Well, I love you guys.
Yeah. So, Mike, have you made any progress on whatchamacallit?
The site for the 2026.
Yeah.
Well, Mel, I need to know exactly what days you're getting here and what day you have free to go visit the 3 locations. Yes, I have 3 locations picked out that I want you to look at when you get
I'm
here.
gonna be there. I'm gonna be there on the 29th and 28th. Tomorrow.
That's tomorrow. So, but what day do you have 3 or 4 hours free that we could go drive around and
well,
look at?
the only thing I got to do is I got to ship a phone, and I don't know if I'm shipping it or if I'm driving it and surprising my mom. Her phone just literally, she's got an iPhone 6, and I'm bringing her an iPhone 16. All right.
Wow.
So
Okay.
either I'm shipping it or I'm driving it. One of those two is going to happen. So I'll let you know, but I think we could carve out some time and go take a look at
yeah, just give me a day. There's several. I don't. What hotel are you staying in? Just tell the whole world right here.
I'm staying at the MGM Grand Tower 5.
Perfect. Okay.
And,
okay. So
do you
look,
have
just
any
pick
guns that I could borrow while I'm there?
I got an extra gun. Yeah.
Yeah, good. I don't like to go naked. You know what I mean?
I hear you. Nobody wants to see it either. Look, pick one of these days. Give me a 4-hour block, and I've got 3 hotels picked out. I want you to look at. But just give me. But you got to decide what day, so I can arrange, because you need to make appointments with those folks to meet them to get a tour of the facilities. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So
Mel,
Go ahead.
question, Mel, on the Quantum Summit 3.0, or just to clarify, are we looking at Vegas as a possible replacement for the event, or as a secondary event that we're going to have, and then we're going to continue either in Florida somewhere, Orlando, Cape Canaveral?
The Quantum Summit is going to be phased out. The only reason why I would probably do an event where we call it a gathering of sort, we're not necessarily going to label it a Quantum Summit Part 4, Part 5, Part 6, is because once a year, we're probably not going to need the money. We're probably going to have people donating money because they have too much money. And tickets could be upwards of $1,000, whatever, or $800, whatever. And it's going to come with meals and all that kind of stuff. And we're going to have maybe Friday night, we get to pre-meet at some restaurant where everybody pays for their own drinks, their own whatever. Saturday will be the event, and then Sunday we all hang out at the pool, being in the pool or whatever. You know what I mean? From all the drinks we had the day before. I have no idea. But it's not going to be like something like where, it's a thing to, turning it into a business. I don't want to turn it into a business. And hopefully, the XRP is worth $27 by September of 2026, because that's when we're planning on having it. You know what I mean? And hopefully the dinars and the Zims and the Bolivars have all, evolved to something, right? So I expect a lot of people who have been positioned for a long time, who've had fair, six-figure incomes, are positioned to become the guys and gals, and the families are going to be worth 40, 50, 60 million dollars on the first go around. I think it's going to come in phases. Then there'll be phase 2 and phase 3, and phase 3 is when we get stone wealthy. Phase 3 could come as late as 2030. Now, I'm not saying it's going to take that long, but it could. However, if you go through phase 1 and you've been around for as long as I have, and you got a six-figure income, and you've been accumulating, keeping your eye on the ball, making sure that nobody's poisoning you, buying organic food, and hanging out at the stayingalive.com in Cape Canaveral, right? And you're healthy, and you're worth $50 million. Well, we got a lot of time. You take all the time you need, bozos, because I got 50 million in the bank. I could sit back and relax. Whenever you guys are ready and you get your shorts untangled, let me know. I'm here to collect, right? Simple.
Okay.
So that means there's 2 quantum or just 1 quantum summit?
There's gonna be
Is that what
just
you asked?
one more
Lisa?
quantum. We're going to
Yes.
phase it out, and the other ones are going to be just get-togethers. Maybe it's going to be a charity event, and we're going to donate the money to a charity where I know for sure that the money is not going to get eaten up by like these guys that Bono and all these guys, where maybe 5% of the money that gets donated gets to the actual cause to make the whole thing legal, and they're pocketing millions of dollars. I want to make sure that if we're donating, $1 million or $20 million, it goes all to help that cause.
Right.
Yeah.
So you said September, so we're not looking at spring anymore?
No, September. So September of 2027 is what we're looking at. I don't even know what day is this. What day?
We're
is
not doing
September 9th?
2026?
Yeah. What day is September 9th?
Oh, September 9th, 2026? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
We might do it on my birthday, September 9th.
So September 9th is a Wednesday of
Yeesh.
2026.
Well, we could do it on Friday and celebrate it on the 11th.
11th, 12th. Oh, yeah. September 11th. That's a cheery day for everybody.
Well,
Okay,
then
so-
we counteract it.
So 2026, we're looking at September, and then thereafter, we're looking at gatherings that would take place.
Yeah.
Did I
Somebody
get that right?
disagrees with you. Hey, somebody disagrees with you on the moon. This could get interesting.
They'll lose. They
might
will
be a few of
lose.
us.
In the immortal words of Ivan Drago in Rocky IV, you will lose.
I love it. Well, guys, I think this was a great show. We hit close to 500, which is cool. And guys, look, we're just trying to wing it here. We're a bunch of guys, ragtag army of guys who want to get
And
into
gals,
the news
and gals.
guys and gals. That's right. Last time we checked. And the reality is, we know that you're all been lied to. You want to hear the truth. We got nothing but truth. I'm not owned by Pfizer. I'm not owned by Merck. I'm not owned by anybody. Mel Carmine is in charge of Mel Carmine, and I can assure you these people are in charge of themselves too. And so we're here to tell you the truth as we see it. And so if you like what you hear, bring a few people next week. Let's get to 1,000, people listening in, and then we're going to get to 2,000, and we want to get the truth out. That's what we are. And don't forget, the documentary is coming out. You don't know what it's about. Wait until you hear the title. Wait until you hear what it's all about, because I guarantee you the documentary will 100 trillion% end up on Donald Trump's desk. I will make sure of that. If I'm brazen enough and I got the chutzpahs enough to get a big, microphone and get out in the street to promote my business, I'm capable of doing just about anything. You know?
All right.
And we got a great team here, guys. We'll see you on the next one. Now, if you guys want to see a little glimpse of the documentary, I'll share my screen while we are not live anymore, obviously. If you want to stay, you don't have to.
Yeah, for
All
sure.
right. So how do we end the stream? Just hit the button, end the stream. Hey, guys, we'll catch you on the next one.